Welcome to the audiobook of All Men Are Made. Engage what makes you strong, reject the habits making you weak, become the exceptional man the world needs you to be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a future chapter. You can show your support of me by purchasing a hard copy of the book on Amazon and leaving an honest review. Your words keep me going, and I appreciate every single one of them. Thank you. Chapter 10. Purpose, not pleasure. My purpose is to help men get happy, healthy, living and loving life. My why is because better men makes for a better world all round. Happier, more fulfilled, more engaged, stronger men means everyone else benefits. Therefore, not only do I have a solid purpose, my why is noble. My purpose is noble. My work is good and meaningful, and I can set about my days knowing that I'm doing good work. That is all important to me. Having a purpose is much like figuring out your why. It's similar, but not. Willpower and discipline together make you an unstoppable force, yes, but a meaningful why and working towards a greater purpose together, well, that makes you a goddamn contender in life, my friend. Your why could be your motivation to keep going and never quit. Your purpose is motivation to exist. If you pursue your purpose, instead of pursuing women and pleasure, for example, soon you will be pursued by women who actually want to pleasure you. When you spend days and long nights working hard on your purpose, it oozes with accomplishment. You give yourself no choice but to stand out from those who instead pursue short-term, quick and disposable pleasures. Remember, you are the exceptional man who seeks out meaningful and lasting, and you are here for a reason. That reason does not involve being a weak and unhealthy habit hostage. It does not involve playing video games all day and night. It does not involve watching pornography, eating junk food, drinking, smoking, wasting time, and being an aimless fucking bum. It does not involve short-term pleasure. It involves purpose, and more purpose. How do you want to be remembered after you die? What do you want people to say about you after you die? Consider your answers deeply for a while, but let me give you some guidance. If you want to be remembered as a world-renowned astrophysicist, then you should probably do something worthy of being remembered as a world-renowned astrophysicist. If you want to be remembered as one of the greatest footballers to have ever lived, then you should probably go out there and do something that'll have you remembered as one of the greatest footballers who ever lived. You get the point. If you want to be remembered for the things you want to be remembered for, you won't unless you do them. You have to get out and do them. People won't talk about you the way you want them to talk about you unless you give them that something to talk about. You have to get out and give them it. I cannot be any clearer on this. So remind yourself before deciding how you're going to spend your days, are you spending them building a lasting legacy where you're remembered and people speak about you the way you want them to? Are you doing all that you can to be what you want to be, or are you wasting your time here? These are the questions that will define you. Every day that you waste not answering these questions effectively is one less day that you get to be the man you want to be. I cannot show you this path without also sharing mine. Everything in this book is the way of me. We're covering that. I do or have done everything in it. I'm the embodiment of it. At least I strive to be. I want to be remembered for having written one of the most beneficial books for a generation of men who needed it. I want to be remembered for having made a difference. And what will they say about me after I'm gone? Well, that's easy. It'll be a mixed bag. But all, to a man and woman, will have no choice but to agree that I was a great man. Yes, maybe I fucked up the first half of my life, but boy, did I make the most of the second half of it. I put my money where my mouth is. I promise value and I deliver. Much like telling you exactly where you fit in with the world, I'm going to give you another gift right now, the gift of knowing your purpose. And it's one of the most common complaints from the men I help, lacking purpose. But it's easy. Your purpose right now, as we've discussed in the masculine core values, is to get your life's work done. Figure out your destiny and fulfill it, the final two of the core masculine values. Whatever it is, whatever burning passion that you have inside, which you could class as being your life's work, that's what you need to get done. And start getting it done yesterday. When you do, when you are working in the pursuit of it every day, living and breathing, getting your life's work done, you will be happy, my friend. You will find happiness. You will find meaning. And you will soon be left with no uncertainty as to what your destiny is that you need to fulfill. Your life's work is that thing you've been passionate about from a young age. Usually around 15 to 18 years old, you start to find that twang, that spark that lights within, and you're drawn to something. It's that thing that you were born to do and have a drive inside you to want to be great at. What is it you were born for? And let me ask you another simple question now. What did you want to be great at when you were young? Between that age that I've already described, about 15 and 18, around that age, remember, back to the future you. What was that thing that you truly wanted to be great at? Because here's the rub, my friend, it's not going to go away. Whatever it is that you wanted to be great at then, you will still want to be great at when you're 51 or 81. And you must set the course now to becoming great at that which you want to be great at. Whatever it is, find out. As we've already covered, whatever it is, find out. If you don't, it will sting in later life. And by sting, I mean, do you want to succeed and become great at everything you wanted to become great at? Or do you want your final feeling on this earth to be a sting of anguish that you didn't? And you must start finding out right now. If, for whatever reason, the ship may have sailed on many things that you wanted to become great at when you were young, don't worry. Fear not. You can still become great at things you want to be great at now. Do not let another ship sail past. I know there's at least two things that you can pinpoint immediately that you know that you want to be great at and still can. It doesn't matter what they are. Find out. So there you have it. I'm giving you the gift of your purpose. Use it. Find out what you can become great at. In that greatness lies your life's work. And in your life's work unveils your destiny. This is the moment that your light bulb sparks lit. You know what your life's work is that needs doing. You know your purpose. You know your destiny is by design and that it's calling you. And you know that you're a masculine bastard by design. You know you need to reject the habits making you weak and engage everything that makes you strong. You know what you need to do. Your greatness and your purpose awaits you. Chapter 11, The Four Pillars. I'm going to cover some very basic self-improvement here. There's no rocket science, but these are all essential. They are applicable to everybody, men and women, and they are the most rudimentary of self-improvement practices and ideologies. As I've said before, everything in this book is merely my own philosophies, my own ideologies, my own thinking, my own processes, my own standards, and I hold myself to them. I only aim to share them with you in the hopes that you too can use them to make a difference in your life. The four pillars are the four pillars of well-being, and the only steadfast rule of the four pillars of well-being is that if you work on one, you will improve the other. The four pillars of well-being are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Improved physical well-being leads to stronger mental health. Both together lead to better emotional understanding and intelligence, and all together lead to spiritual growth with greater inner peace. If you work on one, you will improve the other. Growing strong, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually is a non-negotiable. This is going to be the same advice for everybody in life, not just men. Getting the body moving is fundamental to the well-being of every human being on the planet, because everything begins with improving your physical health. Regular physical activity brings about greater health, improved fitness, and greater overall well-being. This is just standard shit. Working on your physical well-being controls your weight, helps you to look better, helps you to think better, you combat illnesses better, you sleep better, you grow muscle or you add muscle definition, and you live longer. Why would you not want to do any of these things? It feels worse to do nothing than it does to do something. Physical activity gives you extra energy and can help you maintain a positive attitude. There was a time that my negative self-talk had gotten particularly bad. I'd been on my quest for improvement for well over a year by this point. I had been doing everything right. I was crushing my goals. I was on top of life, and everything was well structured within it. I felt focused, and I was getting my life's work done. Everything was on point. I was fucking killing it. I had a solid relationship on the go, and the sex was mind-blowing. My kids were happy and healthy. Everything seemed in its right place. There was no reason for any dark cloud to creep over me. But it did, and I couldn't shake it off. This is so common. Most of that morning, for no reason, I sat with my head in my hands, unable to figure out what was causing it. I'd experienced this so many times before. I'm no stranger to long, drawn-out depressive episodes in my past. I suffered from panic attacks and anxiety since my mid to late 20s. But today was different. In the past, I would have let the darkness swoop in and take over my thoughts. Believe me, they were trying. The crows of consternation were circling and swooping low. My overriding thought was that I was useless, that everything I was doing for me and my children was pointless, that life itself was pointless. But today was different. My training kicked in. I'd spent a year or more working on my physical fitness and my mental health, had been strengthened from that year training mind and body in every way, every damn day. In the past, I would have let those pesky crows circle above, but not today, motherfucker. This time, I stood up. I put on some grubby as fuck clothes, running trainers, grabbed my earphones, and I straight up bolted out my front door. My garden gate closed behind me in a puff of dust. I was off. No pause for thought or procrastination. No time to talk myself out of it. No excuses. It was an instinctive act of defiance against my own depression, against my mind's attempt to derail me from my duties as a man. My mind was trying to fuck me over. I knew it, and I knew I needed to do something about it, and quickly. I returned home about an hour later after an intensely emotional and frenetic run. You know me by now. I channeled and focused all my emotions into it, purposeful, intentional. I was driven by the emotion for my greater cause, my purpose, my why. This cause, this time, was that of overcoming my own negativity. Immediately, when I got home, immediately upon my return, I sat down and I grabbed my notebook. I began to scribble everything I'd ever done that was good for myself and my children. I swashbuckled the negativity away. I wrote down everything good that I could think of from the past 12 months. Afterwards, as I sat there drenched in sweat from an emotionally driven and supercharged run, with a full page of a notebook devoted to all the good shit that I do and have done and am doing, guess what? It felt fantastic. 15 minutes later, my dark cloud had completely subsided. The crows had consumed as much as I was prepared to let them. They had now departed, replaced by clear skies and positive thoughts. It just works. I set about the rest of the day, and I cannot recall exactly what I did, but it was a glorious day. The clouds had cleared, and I realised that my taking action had been a subconscious act. I had trained it into me now through constant repetition, the convincing myself, the action I was taking daily being the evidence of it in my life. It had saved me. I cried again, but at no time when I was crying was I ever crying because I was being a sad little snowflake, unable to cope with the rigours of life. I was always crying because I was growing and improving. I knew I was getting somewhere. I knew I was making real, tangible progress with myself. I was overcoming hurdles. I was taking down personal goals. I was having major breakthroughs either with myself or others. Every tear shed was a tear of unrelenting growth, as a human being and as a man. In the past, an episode like this could have lasted for weeks or months until I would have eventually visited my doctor, and I would have ended up back on medication. This time, it lasted half a morning, and whatever negative shit was floating around in my head was vanquished. I cannot stress enough, engaging in physical activity is so good for your mental health. And if you don't know this by now, you've been living under a rock. The more you do, the less you will need to tweak a negative mindset back to a positive one. I repeat, what would have normally taken weeks or months now took half a morning. This is all why I believe you should live the purest life you can. Regular physical activity also leads to improved self-esteem, increased self-confidence, and it's proven to reduce stress. Every time you work out, you accomplish something. You start from nothing, you suffer, and you achieve a result. Progressing physically leads perfectly into your mental well-being. It is amazing how much moving your body carries along with it so much power in helping your mind stay in shape. The more frequently you take regular decisive action to improve your physical well-being, the greater your mental well-being becomes. The accomplishment that follows action is key to everything. The less you accomplish in life gradually destroys your mental health. And I know this because I have lived this. You will always suffer mentally when you are not actively achieving, or at the very minimum, striving to achieve your goals in life. Depression and anxiety will always follow you around if you are not fulfilling or taking the necessary steps towards fulfilling your destiny. It's in your genetic makeup as a glorious masculine bastard to strive for accomplishment. If you're not, your mind will let you know you're failing your natural instincts, and it will remind you often in the form of your demons, depression, and anxiety. They will all come and haunt you. Your physical and mental well-being are two peas in a pod. You have to think of them as best friends in a buddy movie. One without the other simply doesn't work. They need each other. They empower each other. They build one another up. They tag each other in to do the hard graft when necessary, and they pick up each other's slack. Your physical and mental well-being are a team, and they often need a push in the right direction to get going. So make the arrangements to get them together regularly, because forging the bond between physical and mental well-being makes it easier for you to manage, understand, and control your emotions, hence your emotional well-being. Again, I don't make the rules. Your emotional well-being and core emotional intelligence develops powerfully alongside your improved physical and mental health. Have these two main pillars working together like a well-oiled machine, and the third pillar, your emotional well-being, will become a wonderful byproduct of this combination. An emotional adult male child. Nobody wants that. Too much emotion from you becomes tedious to everyone. Your friends, your family, your colleagues, and your women will soon tire of you. Everybody knows it. At work with your bosses or employees, at home with your wife or girlfriend, in life with your friends, relatives, and acquaintances. They will all tire of you if you are too much emotionally, especially your women. If you keep talking about your feelings and whining over silly spilled milk shit, she can't. She can't spend her time listening to you moaning and complaining and still be immensely sexually attracted to you. She will not be throwing herself at your commanding and imposing masculine frame, dripping all over you. If you're being overly emotional all the time, it puts her into mothering mode, or worse, therapist mode. If a woman is feeling like she's mothering you, I can guarantee you she's not feeling like fucking you. Becoming a healthy, fit, and strong man with solid mental health, plus high levels of emotional well-being, is desirable in today's and all future societies. This is high value. This is who you are, cool under pressure, calm when fires are raging inside and outside, and at peace even when trying to win wars. All three of these pillars, physical, mental, and emotional, together and worked on regularly, eventually will create in you someone who's in line with his true self, along with getting your life's work done, fulfilling your destiny. Spirituality is not about turning over a random card on a table, revealing a shaved monkey, impaling itself with a trident made of dragon hair, thus signifying the death of your inner child and the onset of male pattern baldness. Spirituality means living, behaving, thinking, and speaking from your deepest core, having belief in more and in yourself, reaching the point as a man that you're completely comfortable in your own skin, at peace entirely with yourself and who you are, accomplished in life, and loving yourself in all the right, good, and healthy ways. That's spiritual well-being. It means exuding such a level of inner peace and calm that infiltrates others with the same deep sense of calm, peace, security, and comfort when you are around them. People trust you to be able to be themselves around you. They trust themselves fully in your strong and capable hands. I can't imagine being a man who isn't trusted to lead, and I certainly don't want to be someone who others can't be themselves around. Fuck that. You need the four pillars of well-being to be who you are, for others, and for the world. So engage them now, and engage them wisely. Chapter 12. Savages May Come. The following is a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, author of The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching. Open quote. If you look deeply into the palm of your hand, you will see your parents and all generations of your ancestors. All of them are alive in this moment. Each is present in your body. You are the continuation of each of these people. Close quote. Your ancestors are an important part of who you are, and they know what a cretinous, whiny little bitch you've become. They are the creators of your bloodline, your characteristics, personality, and everything right down to your DNA, and they fucking hate you. Why? Because they are responsible for everything about you, and without them, you would not exist, and you waste their time and yours by letting them down every damn day. You've lost your edge. There's no need for you to be a hunter or a gatherer, and it shows. You're weak. You have no real challenge for survival, no real testing of your fortitude or warrior spirit the way your ancestors were. One of the biggest dangers to your health and mental well-being right now is softness. Being so comfortable and having things so easy has meant you failing to realize how epic you could become if you started to put more effort into yourself. You are capable of being a man of great worth. This is one battle that you, I, and your ancestors will fight together. If you've been paying attention properly until now, you will have noticed the first third of chapters have been focused on working hard, growing strong, getting your life's work done, and fulfilling your destiny, all part of the 8 masculine core values. And this is your reminder right now to learn to fight and to protect those whom you love. If you were alive just a couple of 100 years ago, you would have lived outside in the elements. You had to fight for the clothes on your back, the roof over your head if you had one, and for every scrap of every meal. You would laugh in the face of danger as you fought various enemies like your life depended on it, because it did. And now what? You wake up, you snooze your alarm until there's no time left, and have no choice but to get up or be late for work. My God, you're lazy and you hate yourself for it. It's so bloody boring and so bloody safe. You spend nights in your cosy home watching TV, scrolling your phone, covered in comfortable blankets if you wish, with a fridge full of food and a cupboard full of snacks. Your mind is a cesspit full of pointless, meandering garbage, and you're always warm if you need to be. Distractions are everywhere. Digital entertainment has never been more abundant, yet less entertaining, and you know it but consume it anyway. Tragic, weak, soft, and boring. There's an abundance of quantity, but quality is rare. You're constantly fed up and agitated. You live each day with no struggle for survival, and certainly not in the conventional caveman sense, that's for sure. You are part of the feeblest generation of men in history. You've lost your gritted teeth and determination, and you are chained to modern technology. You whinge more than ever. You gossip. You complain. You're unrecognisable to the generations of men before you, the men who built the very foundations of society and whom gave you the comfortable existence that you take for granted today. They would despair with you. At best, they would laugh. You've probably heard the saying, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. We are deep in the weak men creating hard times phase. The only way out is to go to war with yourself. But the fight is not exclusively with yourself. Your ancestors, there to fight daily for everything. If an invading force of some unknown origin, a deadly and bloodthirsty army from another shore, or God forbid, worse, an uprising from within our own should suddenly strike, attacking us in our homes where our wives and children sleep soundly every night, would you be prepared? How prepared are you? Are you physically and mentally fit enough to fight? Are you ready to defend your tribe from all comers? Are you ready to barricade your home to keep your family safe and fight to the death to protect it? Are you ready, if necessary, to take that fight out into the streets? Are you prepared to defend yourself, armed only with your fists and any weapon you can lay your hands on? Are you prepared to kill or be killed? You may be under attack from all sides and outnumbered, but are you willing to perish in the name of protecting your loved ones, no matter what, whilst guaranteeing at least two of the tyrants besieging your home succumb to a grisly end? Death by your brave and protective blood-soaked hand. This is worst case scenario, heavily apocalyptic, far-fetched, a fully hypothetical situation, but it is happening now in other parts of the world. What I ask is, are you capable of taking care of your own nest? Are you able to keep your tribe safe? If not, you have to begin developing the warrior within. You must learn to fight, take lessons, whatever you need to become better, leaner, stronger, harder, and a wall of a man. Who are you if you've never known how to fight? You are nothing, no one, a soft as fuck pussy of no meaningful effect. That's you. So fuck that, and fuck you if you don't try. Take lessons from ancient Rome. They got sloppy. They became weak, corrupt, obsessed with no longer building and conquering, but with consuming. The men became effeminate. They got too comfortable and they thought they were untouchable. They were far from safe. They brought themselves to their knees through political infighting, and they took their eyes off what was important to maintaining their grip on civilization. They forgot to remain strong. Eventually, savages came. The men were murdered and the women raped. This is what savages do. Barbarians conquer the weak. At this period in history, you're part of the weak. You're surrounded by it everywhere. But it's not your fault. Your soul has been corrupted by it. You cannot pretend that you haven't seen it happening. The men around you are getting softer, more feminine, and emasculated. The classic masculine man has been replaced with the moisturized man. You cannot keep burying your head in the sand, pretending that it's not happening, because if you bury your head in the sand for too long, eventually a donkey will come along and fuck you. Society as we know it is becoming the donkey, and men, we're the ones getting fucked. So work hard now, grow strong now, learn to fight now, to protect those whom you love now and in the future. If you knew savages were coming, would you be ready? I do not need to insult your intelligence by pointing out that you're not to intentionally set out to cause anyone any harm who doesn't intend to harm you. Violence is never the answer, unless as a last resort. There is no excuse for it, except for when defending oneself or others from harm. Self-defense only, or for the protection of others at risk. I hope you never need to. The scenario I've painted is unlikely, but it does no harm for you to be ready. It does no harm for you to be prepared for any potential threat to you or your family, existential or otherwise. It is your duty as the fierce protector of all you care about and value to be prepared. Take a look around. The next time you're walking down a busy street, assess the men that you see. How many of them appear capable of fighting to save the lives of their loved ones? How many of them look like they could run for miles to reach a food supply before anyone else? What can you do compared to the other men that you see? Are you in better shape than them? How many could you take in a straight fist fight? How many could you outrun for that food? Would you be scared if you had to go up against them? If you think this is unimportant, be careful, because it might be in the future. You don't know. But other than learning to fight, I want you to try something new from now on. This is simply a little thing that I liked to do in the beginning. I chose to run for my supper, and I want you to do the same. Stop taking your car short trips to the shops for essentials. Grab a rucksack instead and get on your bike. It'll save fuel and you'll get some exercise. Get into the habit of running for your supper, running for your food. Not only is it training, it's practice. Who knows? Make excuses to go to the shops. Leave items off the lists that you make that you don't need that day, but you know you'll need tomorrow. Make sure you've got a reason to go the next day, the day after, and the day after next, and keep going. Give yourself that reason. Adopting this small change in your daily habits may appear inconsequential, meaningless, and hardly going anywhere to pleasing your ancestors, but you will gain a deep sense of pride for doing so. Such a simple act of running for your supper is the equivalent of one of your ancient forefathers heading out on horseback to forage for food. You have so many luxuries and comforts that if you try causing yourself just a little bit of physical suffering for your rewards, you will think better about yourself, and you will definitely feel like more of a man. You're bringing home the bacon. You're carrying it on your own goddamn back. You're able to be proud of yourself for doing so. And you're feeding your tribe with the food that you're carrying home in your back. Your great grandfather or your great great grandfather would be proud to see you trying to make your life a little less comfortable than that which you've become accustomed. And anything that would make your ancestors proud in this way is worth doing, in my opinion. Plus, you will love carrying your or your children's or your loved one's food home on your back. It's powerful. It's a good feeling. It's empowering. It takes you to a place where you're fulfilling your role as a hunter, gatherer, and provider. It's just another small act, simplistic, a micro habit, but the meaning behind it is huge. And this small act makes a massive difference to your sense of pride in what you're trying to do and who you're trying to be. I made a habit of 2 small acts a day, which helped me to achieve everything I wanted to. For you, these can be 2 seemingly insignificant actions to take every day, or they can be grandiose. They can be mega or tiny, inconsequential or consequential. As little as sending an email, reaching out to someone who could help you, registering a new business domain, writing something, researching something that you're interested in, doing any small thing that aligns you to whatever your life's work and your destiny is. Doing 2 small things every day means that in 1 year you will have done 730 small things. That's huge progress and something that I personally love. So make your life difficult so the people that you love may live in comfort. From now on, learn to fucking fight. Get out of your comfy bed sometimes, sleep on the couch, better yet, sleep on the floor. Run for your supper, do 730 small things a year. Become a hunter and gatherer in the modern sense. Hunt for knowledge and gather skills. Do things daily that help make you powerful. Avoid that which makes you weak and average. We're in battle cry mode again. You're not your ancestors. You cannot compare the struggles of today to theirs, but you can be the creator of your own hardship by training yourself hard mentally and physically, finding new and creative ways to push your body to its limits, testing your fortitude as a man, as a provider, as a leader, keeping setting more intensely challenging daily rituals. Think them up yourself. What can you think of that's even more challenging that will really blow the minds of your ancestors? Go for it. Think on it hard, and then go out and make them proud. Chapter 13. Fun. My self-improvement was right for me and at the right time. My mind was ready for it. That's why I say this book is perfect for the right man at the right time. I knew instinctively that each time I tried something new, or gave up something old, that it would stick. Adding a new habit or removing one that wasn't serving me anymore was simply a matter of making that change, and that was it. It was done. It really did become as easy as that. I could discard a habit at will. As soon as I realised it wasn't good for me, it was gone. Likewise, I could adopt a new one if I thought it would help me be better. At the click of my fingers, it was done. I said at the beginning of the book with the get to fuck out list, once the major habits go, the rest topple like dominoes, they really do. And they seem so easy by comparison, because if you can deal with the difficult shit in life, the easier shit gets easier. I also realised how intense a person I am. People have always noticed it about me, but I hadn't really noticed it in myself until I started to become who I am now. I realised that I'm too intense for anything else but bettering myself. I think intensely. I write intensely. I work intensely, but I believe in myself intensely. I love intensely. I train intensely. And that intensity pays off everywhere. I've tried so many different avenues with my life. I dabbled in meaningless projects time and again, never fully knowing why I was doing them until it hit me. My greatest project was me. I was the challenge. Starting to finish the job of me was the most important thing. I should have been doing it all along, but even then, I know that had I started at any other time in my life, I wouldn't have been ready. I can now say, however, with absolute clarity and conviction, that there is no other project that I've been involved with that I'm as passionate about as the project of myself. I have wasted so much time investing in dreams that were never mine. I would push myself into situations that I didn't want to be in because I thought I was where I wanted to be, doing what I wanted, even though it had never been my dream to do so. This chewed me up. It broke my soul into bits, and it drove me deeper down negative spirals. I didn't even know it until I pulled myself out of them and started to focus on myself and my actual dream, which was that of making a difference. I realized something rather profound, that I can't look at anyone enviously. I can't look at anyone who's living a dream and achieving their dreams with any amount of jealousy, because their dream isn't mine. Everyone that I've ever known, good or bad, I hope they all achieve every single one of their hopes and dreams, because they're not mine. The only hopes and dreams worth focusing on are my own. The only hopes and dreams worth focusing on for you are your own, no one else's. I finally understand how important it is for me to engage with the world as intensely as I do. It's been my lifelong mission to make a difference. My intensity for it will not let me do anything any other way until I have achieved my lifelong ambitions. But there is simply so much more to making a difference. It requires intensity, yes, but it also requires sacrifice and a never give up attitude. And I couldn't get through life without any of these. But as important as they all are, there's also one thing I couldn't get through life without: humour. So with that in mind, I have to break from the serious stuff. Yes, it's important, but it's also important to never lose a sense of enjoyment in what you're doing. This book is not a work of fluff or fiction. This book is hard graft, and I salute you for getting here. You're almost halfway through. And I'm aware that self-improvement is a serious business. It's an intense daily battle, but as serious a business as it is, growing and becoming a great man, full of intensity for the challenge and the commitment to creating a new you, don't forget to have a laugh. Make your hard work as enjoyable as you possibly can, wherever you possibly can. It might be grueling and it might be difficult, but try and go about it with a smile. Grin through the grit. Smile through the suffering. Do everything if you can with a wide-eyed, insane grin. Watch the looks on people's faces brighten up as they pass you, doing whatever you're doing, with an intensity they could only wish for, and give them some of that good energy. Pass it on. Pass good energy on to everyone and watch their smiles widen as they see you trying to give them good energy. Ask them how their day is, give them a big smile and say hello. Keep interacting with people in this way. Fill them up with joy. Fill yourself with joy. Fill every one of you up with joy. Why the fuck not? Each time somebody responds to your good energy, it's cathartic. You're giving out good energy, which is returned to you with interest. Give off good energy as often as you can, wherever you can. You can be focused. You can be determined. You can be a beast of a man. But that does not mean that you always have to have the game face on 24/7. I have to say this, and I have to say this now, because we're halfway through the book. I said that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of your change. This is just the beginning of you becoming the man you want to be. And I bring this up now in a chapter about fun, because I don't want you to put yourself under too much pressure. I want you to relax through it all. You can't be awesome immediately, but you can accept that you are right at the beginning of the process. You are right at the beginning. In fact, because you're halfway through the book, you're halfway through the beginning. You're halfway through the beginning of figuring out everything that needs to go from your life. You're halfway through the beginning of understanding why it's important you adopt a masculine mentality. You're halfway through the beginning of starting to believe in something greater than yourself. You're halfway through the beginning of forgiving your past. You're halfway through the beginning of making peace with your past and healing your inner child. You're halfway through the beginning of developing your willpower, your discipline, and a relentless growth mindset. You're halfway through the beginning of engaging your twin. You're halfway through the beginning of knowing your why. You're halfway through the beginning of following your purpose, not pleasure. You're halfway through the beginning of paying real attention to the 4 pillars of well-being. You're halfway through the beginning of learning to fight and being prepared. And you're halfway through the beginning of knowing that you can have a little bit of fun while doing so.